Section 0 of The Elements of Entomology. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Michelle. The Elements of Entomology by William Ruschenberger. Preface. The sixth in the series of First Books of Natural History includes a consideration of articulated animals, insects, myriapods, arachnidans, crustaceans, sauropods, annelidans, and zoophytes or radiated animals. The volume is illustrated by 91 beautiful woodcuts, executed in his best style by Mr. G. Thomas of Philadelphia. The etymology of technical words is explained in the text, and a full glossary is also appended. In the preparation of this volume, besides the texts of Edwards and Comte, the works of Cuvier, Lamarck, T. Rymer Jones, Thomas Say, and others, have been freely used. The writer takes great pleasure in believing that in supplying a series of elementary books on natural history, his humble labors may be beneficial to the country. As a useful branch of education, natural history seems not to be sufficiently appreciated or extensively regarded. By the term natural history, we mean that science which embraces a knowledge of the structure of all bodies, whether living or inorganic, found on the whole face of the earth, or united together to constitute its mass; a knowledge of the phenomena observable in these bodies, the characteristics by which they may be distinguished from each other, and the parts they perform in the great total of the creation. Its domain is immense, and its importance does not yield to its extent. Some men, possessing little acquaintance with science, perceive in it a mere collection of anecdotes, more fitted to gratify idle curiosity than to exercise the mind; or they regard it as a dry study of technical names and arbitrary classifications. But such an opinion has its source in ignorance, for no one possessing the most elementary notions of natural history can fail to recognize its great utility. The spectacle of nature, grand and harmonious as it is, showing how vastly superior in beauty the reality of the creation is to the most magnificent of human inventions, elevates and disposes the mind to high and salutary thoughts. A knowledge of ourselves and of the objects which surround us is not merely to satisfy our craving for information, a craving which is developed in proportion to the increase of intelligence. It is a necessary foundation for many other studies, and is eminently calculated to impart that rectitude of judgment without which the most brilliant qualities lose their value, and in the course of life rather lead from than conduct us to useful conclusions. The importance of the natural sciences ought to be too evident to require demonstration. Geology and mineralogy render daily service to industry, by enabling us better to explore the wealth buried in the bowels of the earth. Botany makes us acquainted with the plants, so varied and so beautiful, which supply our wants in magnificent prodigality. Zoology gives a knowledge of those animals which produce wool, silk, and honey, and those that assist us in our toils with their strength, as well as those which, instead of being useful to us, destroy our crops. How important a guide natural history may be made to agriculture, the great pursuit in the United States! Besides, let us remember the long list of diseases by which the human machine is afflicted, and bear in mind the fact that the practice of medicine is blind in action when it does not rest on a scientific knowledge of the nature of man. The practical importance of the study of natural history, we repeat, requires no proof, and must be felt, no matter what may be our career. But its influence does not stop here. The influence it can be made to exert over our faculties themselves is worthy of the most serious attention. In fact, the natural sciences, by reason of the routine system peculiar to them, accustom the mind to go back from effects to causes, and at the same time invariably submit results deduced from preceding observations to the test of new facts. Their study leads to speculations of the most elevated character, but never leads the imagination astray, because it always places material proof alongside of theory. And beyond any other pursuit, natural history exercises the mind in habits of method, a part of logic
Sample complete. Ready to continue?